a good physical brand to be on the floor, and it kind of muddied the waters of everything because you think one player is the best player in the league, but he's really not. It's just based on the rules that they're allowing, and and then we start falling in love with stats. Like it's so much stuff that was wrong with the NBA that I think is on a direction where it's course correcting. And I think that was spearheaded by Joe Dumars. That was the last thing he did before he left the front office to go and, be the president over there in New Orleans. And that's why we seen the physical brand of defense in the playoffs. And that was real good to my eyes, right? So long as we're trending toward the right direction, if we're going to keep going this way, that's what I want to see. Good defense, good physical play, and all that stuff. Now, the one thing I didn't like in the playoffs, like just starting with this finals, the referees played too much of a part in which team had the upper hand or the advantage in the game. And I think this Indiana Pacers team was really outmatched and outclassed. They couldn't really play with OKC for real. But when the referees tilted the scales toward them, they had a chance. But you could see the shift in the whistle for the home team every single time. And the game 7 should have never happened. But since we're in a game 7, I think the thought process is, well, we don't want the better team to lose. So we extended the series so we can get to a game 7. We don't want the better team to lose. And Indiana was really kind of getting the best of them, any given Sunday. And it feel like the referees had to come in and help OKC a little bit because they knew we done helped Indiana so many times to get a game 7. So when I'm watching that's the only thing that pisses me off about it. They need to take their hands off of rigging the games and extending the series and doing things for Vegas. And I mean, you got the NBA bought to you by Prize Picks, so we know gambling is a partner of the NBA. So we know we're seeing rigged basketball. I just want to see less rigged basketball. Sorry to take it that deep.
No, I love having those conversations on the conspiracy theories, the possibilities of the NBA being rigged. I know most of us thought that when Dallas got the first pick in the draft, which we'll talk about.
Hold on. Omar, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a business model. Like it's like when they say brought to you by Prize Picks, that's gambling.
Right.
The NBA bought to you by gambling. Gambling is legal now. Vegas is part of this. Vegas is also giving you odds before the games. Like if the NBA and Vegas are partners now, and Vegas is telling us, hey, here are the favorites and here are the odds, you think the NBA is just like, oh well, we just gonna let it happen by chance? No, that's their business model. It's not a conspiracy theory no more.
Okay, and I'm with you. I actually agree with you. I believe that they completely have their hands in everything since the great David Stern, may he rest in peace, was around as a commissioner who decided to rig everything, including, you know what? I'm not going to get into things of my past. But anyways, so you did mention, though, the foul calls. There was talk of that even as much going into Scott Foster and the role that he may play, even being held out of Game 7 and people on the internet raving about that. You did say you love the kind of basketball that was played, the physical ball, the fundamentals. I would say a lot of good fundamentals on both sides of the ball. There was a lot of turnovers in that Game 5 that you mentioned where Indiana blew it there at the end. Did you think if Halliburton would have not gotten injured, and I want everybody to answer this, that the Pacers would have either at least, I was just going to say win the game outright, but at least have kept it closer throughout the game?
I go first because I'm going to be quick. I don't even think about Game 7 because I know it wasn't supposed to go to Game 7. Okay. So that's why I go with it.
All right. Bobby? I mean, because Halliburton is a big injury, right?
I believe had Halliburton, I'm not going to say they would have won, but I would say the end of the game would have played out a lot different. You see, the man, this is the first game in the series he came out on fire. He slow started every other game if he didn't play well at all. He played 7 minutes. He led the game in 3-pointers made. How about that?
9 points.
As far as the not supposed to go into Game 7, Jay's absolutely right, because if the Pacers hadn't tricked off the Game 4, they would have won in 6. So I think you was looking at the game in a mirror because you see it backwards. Like the referees were sliding towards the Thunder, not the Pacers. If you recall, SGA had a couple of travel calls that weren't called that somehow got called on Matherin when he went to the basket. You know what I mean? There was I recall a flagrant foul that was called on the Pacers when the game before we saw Nembhard damn near get knocked out cold, and there was no flagrant there awarded. So when you say that the whistles were slighted, yeah, I think you were looking in your glasses in a mirror and seeing it backwards.
See, I mean, so I'm not going bad call for bad call, right? Because some of that is human error. Some of that is human error. What I am going by is the point of emphasis for the game, and you get a different point of emphasis every single game, right? That from the head official to the referees is officiating the game, they get a point of emphasis. Hey, watch this, and we're letting this go, or hey, call this tight or call it loose. So it's different. And what I'm saying is aggression from one side, like the first two games in OKC, we seen a lot of turnovers from Indiana. We seen a lot of aggressive defense from OKC. That was allowed, right? Those games was called in a physical way. Then that was letting Indiana get physical as well. But if you're letting both teams get physical, it's advantage OKC, right? So what happened in Indiana is they was like, we're letting Indiana get more physical than OKC. Now it's slighted toward Indiana, right? So all these other onesies, twosies, non-call that way over travel, I overturned a flagrant and all that stuff. That's different. So that's human error stuff. But how they have a point of emphasis on the game from the beginning of it, I watched it first quarter and I say, okay, I see it. And then, well, another thing they do is when the team is losing, like in Game 7, you're down 20. But now they got to start thinking about ratings. Are people turning the TVs off? So now they start letting Indiana play prison ball, and now OKC can't score no more. When they was pressing and holding and grabbing, notice SGA couldn't even get to his elbow spot for his mid range in the fourth quarter because of the holding. It was TJ McConnell was guarding him on a switch. Not in his best day in his best life. Can TJ McConnell stop SGA from getting to the paint? Unless he's grabbing and holding, right? So every time SGA tried to drive, grab, hold, that's why SGA took 12 threes because he couldn't get to the paint because they was holding him. I watched for that type of stuff.
I got a question for you. Who has a better stiff arm, Derrick Henry or SGA? Because game I saw, he pushed every Indiana Pacer 5 feet off the ball every time he drove.
Yeah,
and the funny thing is, you saw Nembhard do the exact same thing. It's like same thing you saw from Indiana.
Correct.
So it was everybody that was with that. And honestly, no, I don't believe in conspiracy theories around that when it comes to the gambling portion of it because of the federal regulations around that. That stuff gets sniffed out quickly. That's how people end up in jail. The perfect example is if you want to find where games are being fixed, especially by players, go watch college basketball games that are more of your schools that only have basketball, or look into those D2s. The reason why is because since those games aren't watched as much, they're the easiest ones to rig. And that's when you see referees getting in trouble for rigging. You can get players for point shaving and getting into the deal. Can't do that in the NBA. That stuff is completely being blasted out in front of you. And that is how you got Tim Donaghy being put in jail for doing that. You get caught easily when you have the cameras right there in your face. Can't do it. It's not possible. That's the one thing I don't believe is that any of these games are rigged.
So throwing games and being a rogue ref that's rigging games for the mob and stuff like that, that's totally different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the NBA giving the head official instructions and the head official giving the referees instructions for points.
Yeah, I don't believe any
emphasis.
of that.
I've read Donaghy's book. That's exactly how it happens. It's a point of emphasis for each game. No, it has how it continues to happen. So you think the commissioner is saying, I'm going to run a sports league and my hands are completely off. Whatever money we make is whatever money we make. It's all by chance. What businessman leaves everything up to chance that he can control just by saying, hey, point of emphasis, this game needs to be this?
Easy, because you're talking about 30 billionaires who would make more money if their team goes further. What makes you think one billionaire is not going to lose their mind about somebody else getting that opportunity?
Because of
You gotta
revenue
remember,
sharing.
Silver works for
Because
the
of
owners.
revenue
He
sharing.
don't
They
work
share-
for the. He doesn't work for
They
the
share the
NBA. The
revenue
NBA is
after the
ran by the
season.
owners.
The
Yeah,
losing
but
team share the
you just
revenue.
don't take as an owner. You just don't take home the money that your team made. The team that the NBA made as a collective gets distributed evenly.
That's the
amongst owners.
television rights. But the teams make
That's a
money
big
off
part
of their
of it.
own stuff that they sell
That's
themselves.
a-
Believe me, I worked in the NBA. I worked in the NBA for 17 years. I know how
Correct.
those marketing deals work. I know how those
Correct.
ticket deals work. They make their own money on top of it. That's the reason why the Lakers was one of those teams that had no problem. The Knicks as well had no problem playing in the luxury tax and everything, mainly because they had extra money coming in from their own personal regional TV deals. That's where all that extra money came in for them as ownership. But the
Jay,
one thing
Jay,
that owners always want a game 7. They want a game 7 mainly because they get all that ticket money. They get the merchandise money. They get TV rights money. That's where they get paid. You're not going to have a whole bunch of billionaires be okay with somebody else getting something. They were not happy that Oklahoma City was playing Indiana for the championship.
Let's go here, Jay. Let's go here, Jay. Regardless of which team is making a lot of money, because I know the Charlotte Hornets ain't making as much off of ticket sales and jersey sales as the Lakers are. So here's the thing.
The cheeks.
If I'm the Charlotte Hornets, and I know look, first of all, I gotta pay salary and I gotta pay all this other stuff. If I go to the championship versus if the Lakers go to the championship, it's a big gap between how much revenue they're going to get.
But
right, and there's more money to share after the season is over.
No.
That's not how that works. Hold on,
that's not how that works.
You're
at
also
all.
not taking into consideration the luxury tax. So that difference that you say that they making this because of the playoffs, that's just reimbursement for them paying 6-1 penalty in the luxury tax. So actually, the Charlotte Hornets operate in the black every year, whereas the Lakers, the Bulls, the Knicks don't.
And the revenue share helps.
No, it doesn't. The revenue share just makes them whole again. They're dishing out.
Okay, so what would they be? What would they be if what would they be if a team not like the Lakers or the Knicks or some team that is going to bring a lot of money in?
The Hornets.
A team advancing that's not bringing a lot of money in versus a franchise that is bringing a lot of money in is better for their other franchise to advance. But
they're going to make a killing. Like the Indiana Pacers probably made the most profit this season because they're under the tax. They're under the tax penalty, and they made it further into the playoffs.
Yes,
these big market teams aren't operating. That's why these owners are selling it. Why do you think the Lakers they sold the team for fun? No, that
second apron is scaring these owners.
Exactly.
That's why they want to private
making all the money.
But that's under a new CBA. So the stuff that we're talking about now is not even what's under this new CBA. But that's a whole nother topic. But the new CBA is something totally different with their second apron, and all of that stuff is something totally different. Now, just taking the revenue and the money out of it, taking the revenue and the money out of it, going back to all the other stuff about how the games are they predetermine how they're going to call the games. That's 100% fact. I mean, it ain't no point even to discuss that. Like you see the change. Let me ask you a question. Why would one game be called one way and the very next game be called totally different?
Because it's the ref. It's a human element that they all.
That's all human element. Got it. Okay, it's all human element. I buy it. It's all human element. Got it.
Certain refs are known for being more strict when it comes to their calls in comparison.
Where they get their instruction from? What the refs that's on the floor? Where they get their instruction from?
They're not getting it from the league office to tell them to do certain stuff. Certain refs are known for being different when it comes to the
they're getting it from the head official, correct? It's a head official. They have a boss, correct? They get graded after each game, correct?
Based on how well they call the game, how well they don't call the game.
The referees, the playoffs.
So what you're saying is that the head ref tells them, "Hey, I want you to call it this way."
I'm gonna tell you what I'm saying. Let me finish. The referees that referee the playoffs are the highest graded referees during the regular season. How do you get your grade after each game? It's how. Hey, here's your paperwork. This is what I want you to point of emphasis for the game, and how well you call the game based on what the head official gave you. Is how you get your grade at the end of the game. The highest graded referee goes to the playoffs, and then the highest graded referee in the playoffs goes to the next round and the next round in the finals. So you get instruction each game, and you get graded after each game. and that's how you get your ratings as a referee. That's exactly what happened. So
they're
if the
graded
head
based on
official
how
is-
well they rigged the game. Is
if
what
the
you're
head
saying?
official is giving them the grades, who's giving the head official their direction? Nobody.
Okay, but you can't have it both ways. You're saying that
Yeah.
the head official is calling the game, but then you're also saying things are human error. It got to be one or the other. If my boss tells me something, there's no
things that are human error.
I have to abide by what my boss tells me.
If I miss a call, I miss a call. I'm talking about point of emphasis, sir. Point of emphasis.
You're saying point of emphasis. You're saying the headmaster say, hey, if you see this violation, call it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So what you're saying?
Point of emphasis is mostly the fouls. It's mostly gonna be fouls.
Okay.
What they allow and what they're gonna, how physical they're gonna call it, how tight they're gonna call it, how loose they're gonna call it. That's the point of emphasis. That's why you see one game OKC can get really aggressive and get 27 steals, and then the next game Indiana getting 27 steals.
I think the thing that might
not adjustments by the coaching staff? Like it sounds like more like adjustments to me from the coaches.
That happens as well, but I want y'all to watch. I want y'all to watch a series with this in mind, because y'all thinking this is just, hey, look, this is just real basketball. These ain't businessmen that's manipulating things. It's just real basketball out there, and that's the only thing that's been had. It's like high school. No, that's not what it is, dog.
Now,
There's too much money involved.
I
hate to break it to y'all. Y'all probably dislike the fact that, you know, it's like when my friend found out WWE was fake. I mean, and he still won't admit it. But I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to you. The referees actually dictate these games.
Yeah, they have an actual script. That's the best part about sports, is that there is no script for it.
I think there's one thing that we're just like having a little bit of semantical issue here, and I believe what that is that I believe Mel is saying the point of emphasis are things that the refs are supposed to look for in terms of fouls that they should look for, or maybe even like something as stupid as double dribbling, or taking too many steps if you're certain players. And I think on the other side, Bobby and Jay are thinking of this as actual, instead of just point of emphasis, point of making sure that this happens in order to make sure the outcome of the game goes one way or the other. So I think that y'all are around the same issue, but I think y'all are touching on two different sides of the issue. And I believe that both of those things, I think two things can be true here. I believe that there is point of emphasis. Well, we all know there is, because they have referee meetings at the beginning where they're like, hey, make sure you watch for this, make sure you watch for this, make sure you watch for this. Now, does that mean that they necessarily have to call those calls in order to make the game go one way, or if they're going to get paid or graded one way if they don't necessarily make a certain amount of calls? I mean, I guess you would have to be in the back end to know that completely, but it is feasible that it could go that way. It's feasible it could go the other way as well, though.
Yeah, point of emphasis don't guarantee a certain outcome, and I don't think that's why the point of emphasis is there most time. But because if you have a point of emphasis that gives one team more of an advantage, if the other team comes out and just can't miss, there's nothing you can do, right? So I'm not saying that they're going out and saying, hey, this team has to win this game. I'm not saying that. The point of emphasis is referees call it this way, and whatever happened at the top with Adam Silver in the front office and the head official, I don't think the referees at the bottom or that's calling the games are really that aware of what they really want. They just know what the point of emphasis is. And when you read Donaghy's book, he was saying that how he was betting on the games, or how he was telling his mob friends which games to bet on, is from the point of emphasis. He's looking at it and was like, well, shoot, if we're emphasizing that's going to give this team the advantage. Oh, a bet on them this game. You know what I mean? But he said he only had like a maybe 88% success rate. So it doesn't happen 100% of the time based on the point of emphasis, but it was a highly successful way to kind of predict the games. But I'm over my soapbox, man. We can move.
You can put me in that record too, because in that case, I can call the point of emphasis right now. Like when DeAndre Hunter and Ben Mathurin were about to fight, I think everybody on earth knew that the next game was going to be called very, very tight, and it was. So it's like,
it's more so getting control, making sure that they ain't out here trying to kill each other, like for real kill each other.
This was like, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you were a casual fan watching the series go back and forth, you may agree that that's what happens. And again, it's quite possible that all of these things could be happening in conjunction and working together to not even on a necessarily like, someone is purposefully like, when Donahue was betting on the games, maybe there was more of a leeway with that before, gambling got so, as Mel has said, introduced into the world of sports. While there is more regulation, as Jay said, there is also more chances for things to be led astray. So it's going to be a problem that sports are going to have to deal with going into the future. No matter what sport they're in. We've seen a lot of people getting suspended, not only in NBA, but MLB and other sports as well. So it's not going to go away. Who else may not go away? Let's talk about OKC. Let's see if they are going to go away. Can they go back to back? Led by SGA, who was the first player ever to be a regular season MVP, conference finals MVP, right? Scoring champion. This is because of the new conference final MVP being awarded back in 2022. They have a lot of young players, 24.7, I believe was the age average. I can't remember exactly. Anyways,
roughly.
Yeah.
Second youngest ever behind the 77 Portland Trailblazers or 79 Trailblazers. So anyways, very young.
7.
They haven't even gotten to sign SGA to his max contract yet, but that is coming, obviously. It's going to be 4 years, $293 at a minimum. If he waits a year and risks injury, it could be 5 years, $395 million. So a lot of money. Then you're eventually going to have to sign Holmgren as well. Jalen Williams is probably, he is the second best player on that team. He's going to want to get paid. So let's start with you, Jay, resident Thunders fan. How can the Thunder run it back to back? Can they even get another championship before all this luxury tack and apron stuff starts to kick in?
See, the good thing for the Thunder is everybody they have on the roster is on the contract through the 2027 season. So they, if anybody, they have the opportunity to be able to do that. They're probably going to move a couple of the lower pieces around, bring in some draft picks, may even trade a few of the draft picks they have out there. They've got about, I think it's 12 first-round picks between now and 2030. And they've got an additional like 17 second-round picks. They got them like 30-something draft picks over the next couple of from now to the next 5 years, basically. So Sam Presti did this purposely. I heard somebody say this. Actually, it was Bomani Jones on his show recently, and I think he said it the best about a lot of people were complaining, saying that Oklahoma City was tanking like some of the other teams or whatnot. And what he said was, and I thought it was pretty good. It made me think about it more. He's like, well, no, Oklahoma City didn't tank. They just got really young, which really isn't the same thing as what you saw from the 76ers, who was purposely getting bad, trying to get the number 1, number 2 pick, which they got a lot of them, but only one of them ended up working out, which was Joel Embiid. Nobody else worked out from all those top picks. Markelle Fultz got getting traded. They hated Ben Simmons because he refused to actually put up a layup, and he ended up getting scooted and booted out, right? So you saw, and then Embiid can't stay healthy, so they had to even institute a rule. You have to play a certain amount of games to even get awards because of Joel Embiid and his whining about not winning MVP accolades or whatnot, but he didn't play most of the season. So off of that soapbox, Oklahoma City did it different. They only had one pick that was in the top 3, which was Chet. J-Dub was number 12, but they just accumulated a lot of picks within there, and they used the eye ability of finding talent. Cason Wallace, trading from him at number 10 with Dallas, and he turned out to be a really good one. He basically focused on getting a bunch of dudes with long arms that play defense, that have no problem with having a massive motor, and then he brought up his coach, Mark Daigneault from the Blue. I actually worked with him when I was working for the Blue for years. Great dude. But he was like a focused type of guy to where his thing was, I need you to be out there playing hard. If you're not, I'm a Yankee. Period. Point blank, we ain't going to play no games with this. And they got everybody to buy into that culture. And so for Oklahoma City, what the Thunder are going to have to do going forward is just continue to grow and get better. We're probably seeing the worst version of Chet that we're going to see for a while. He's going to get better. We don't know what the ceiling is.
I'm with you on that.
He's going to get better. We just don't know what the ceiling is, right? Like either he's going to be exponentially amazing or he's just going to be a little bit better. But this is the worst version because he missed most of the season. He only played like 32 games, if you really think about it. Wild to think about. The Thunder won 68 games in the regular season, and Chet played 32. iHeart was out for like a month and a half with us, had a broken finger, but they won 68 games. So to me, they have a great chance of doing that again. And this is probably the wildest part. And I'll get off my soapbox. Oklahoma City was trash from 3 in the playoffs. Listen to them. They were trash. Look at the numbers. It was a dramatic drop 2 years in a row in the playoffs for this team. And that's where the youth showed. But the best part about that was they didn't quit and their defense turned up.
Correct.
There's a chance of actually coming back and doing it again. I said 2 out of 3. They have a possibility before you got to start figuring out numbers. But they've also got some other young dudes. That Nikola Topic kid from Serbia, the guard.
I was going to ask you about him.
Ooh. Oh,
so look, Jay. I'm gonna be quick because I don't want to stop you from where you was going. But I want to ask you about Topic because it's not a lot of footage on him, and when I'm looking at him, he's a different type of athlete than what they put on the floor because they put a lot of, like you said, long arm defenders. He's not that. He's got like a Luka build. I don't know what his defense look like. It's just a lot of offensive highlights. He passes a lot. He ain't a sharpshooter, but he can shoot. Like I don't have a good feel on him, and I was gonna ask you. We can get into it later, but I wanted to know what are y'all talking about in Oklahoma about him and what y'all seeing. But you ain't gonna say it now. We'll get into it later.
I'm glad you said no. I'm gonna jump right into that because that's actually where I was gonna go, was talking about Topic, and you said it perfectly. There's not a lot of tape. You know who else there wasn't a lot of tape on? Nikola Jokic. Unless you was the dude staying up late watching Serbian basketball at 3 a.m, you had no clue that dude existed. It's funny because I was talking to a buddy of mine that has contacts in the league, and he told me this, that the Denver Nuggets were praying that nobody figured out Nikola Jokic. So for them, they went when it was late and they were like, okay, I think we want to try this guy. And it was mainly because nobody else was really watching tape. Like, for real, who is watching this Serbian tape? You get a couple highlights, so you're like, oh, okay, looks cool. But now when people go back and look at Jokic's highlights from his playing in professionally out there, they're like, wait, how did everybody overlook that? They didn't overlook it. They didn't even look at all. I mean, that's a dude that you would have no reason to pay attention to. Topic is similar in that situation. He's one of those. Okay. He was considered a top 5 to top 10 pick before he tore his ACL. And Oklahoma City said, screw it.
Is there a comparison? What are y'all talking? What are y'all saying out there? Is there a comparison for him?
I'd say the thing that I've heard most is he's a more refined Josh Giddey. And we've seen when Giddey's had his really best games. Like he can shoot better. Defensively, I don't know. Like you said, I've only seen the offensive highlights on the kid, and Giddey's offensive highlights are ridiculous as well. The problem is he gets that lemon booty when it comes to shooting his threes. He just clinches up, and he's not gonna really make them very often. You get that out of him, and he kind of disappears at the wrong times. Well, Topic doesn't do that. He wants to take the big shots. And
so y'all would have used him this year if he was ready?
If he was ready, he may have gotten some run, but at the same time, he's like 18 years old. Like, that's the crazy part, is you got a kid that played professionally for some years, like Luka, who played professionally for some years, but he's still a kid. So for OKC, it's I think he's 19 now, but for him, it's all right, what are you going to look like in 2 years when we truly need you? Can we refine your defense and make you better defensively? Can we get you good at doing set shots and also running the O to where Shea doesn't have to always drum up the offense? It's probably the biggest problem with Oklahoma City today, is that with SGA, there's situations where they got to get him the ball with like 7 seconds left on the clock and say, hey, man, do work. That's not a good recipe for long-term success, because at a certain point, Indiana started doing it. The minute he got that ball with 7 seconds left, somebody was running behind him, slapping that thing out of his hands. The same way that Oklahoma City was playing defense. That is why you've got to pull that back and say, hey man, we've got to get a little bit more movement in the clutch moments, not regular season, but the clutch moments. And I think that's where Topic can come in there and help with that.
Okay,
he's an intriguing prospect. I'll just say that he's very intriguing. I'm ready to see if he is going to be something.
A lot of good.
And Preston is an intriguing prospect. The way he keeps finding these dudes, like you know what I mean, like and you mentioned the eye. You know, it reminds me of San Antonio on how they was bringing guys in. But when you mentioned their eye to get these guys in the draft, but you forgot to mention the Sam Presti eye to say, oh, y'all want Paul George? Give me that SGA guy. You know what I mean? Like Dude,
He saw a
he
star.
pushing all the right buttons, bro. He just pushing all the right buttons, man.
That is what he does. And it's crazy because a lot of people give him flack about what happened with the early parts of the first iteration of what he was doing with Oklahoma City, when a lot of people fail to realize that dude was 28 years old when he started. Like, this was a young general manager that was trusted. And there were teams that tried to poach him. They were offering big money to get him out of Oklahoma City. But the big thing for him was, and what Oklahoma City gave him, he's executive vice president. That dude has the most power outside of the ownership.
Jeez.
Then him. And so, but the ownership is very hands off the day-to-day business. They have staff members that actually run it. They have a CFO, actually CAO, who runs everything, and the sales team, they got all of that. But Sam's right underneath ownership. So anything he wants, he gets. And so that's where things change for him. It's like, why would I leave a situation where not only I have power, but they're going to let me figure myself out? Well, that's why he, of course, sticks around. But like I said, with that eye of his, he recognized where the adjustments he needed to make in his mindset of stuff. Like, okay, I wanted a bunch of wings. If you look at the players he's drafted since he drafted Kevin Durant, rangy long wings. His bigs, he wasn't very good at. His first good big was Chet, if you want me to be 100% honest. I don't consider Serge in that piece. I think Serge is more of a forward than he is an actual five, but he was trash really in that. He just couldn't figure out getting the right ones to work. And then at some point he changed his thinking. And then the Paul George situation happened. He's like, you know what? We're not going to tank. We're just going to get very young, and we're going to see which one of these guys are ready to grow. Because truth be told, you bring in SGA, and a lot of the pieces that was there when he was young, Kenrich Williams, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, all of those dudes were there when they sucked. They were there during that time, but you just saw them mature together. And it's like, oh, you weren't just tanking to get just top picks. You just was trying to get out young players to see who's going to be where long term. And that's how they were able to build that bond at this young age. And now you see them winning as one of the youngest NBA teams in history to win a championship. Different way of looking at it.
That's what I'm going to give you some pushback, and I'm going to give you a real different way of looking at it. I'm going to give you a conspiracy you can believe in. Okay, so it's okay. What we're seeing today was built off of mistrust and backstabbing. Let me tell you a story. First of all, they're in OKC because the ownership group ripped the team from Seattle. That was the first backstab.
True fact.
Let's not remember that the ownership group isn't afraid to let these guys walk over money, $2 million. Can't give it to you, James. We're gonna send you to Houston. So that's what makes me fearful if they can keep this thing going, because we already know they're not afraid to get rid of good players. So Chet, I'm scared for you. I don't think you got long in OKC. And this down period you're talking about, you missed something very, very, very big. Remember, Paul George isn't there not because it's because he got backstabbed by Westbrook, who called Kawhi and said, "Yo, you want to leak up in LA?" And Kawhi said,
"Actually, it was vice versa. It was actually vice versa."
Then Kawhi called Paul George and told him what Russ said.
Actually, it's vice versa. Actually, Kawhi called Russ and then used that as a conversation with Paul George. When all actuality, Russ wasn't trying to leave. But then when Paul George bounced, Russ talked to Preston. He was like, "You know what? I think it's best to get you somewhere where you can compete." But I get you on that.
I give you that. Still a backstab. But the big part.
That's players on themselves. Can't do much about that.
What happened after that? Y'all get Chris Paul, who felt backstabbed by the league, and he could have went there and moaned and groaned and complained, but he said, "Nope, I'm gonna prove y'all wrong. I'm gonna prove to y'all I still got something in the tank." That was no down period. Chris Paul was still in his prime, and guess who his top pupil was in all of this? SGA. He taught that man how to play basketball, showed him how to be a leader in the locker room and on the floor. So, and along the way, y'all also accumulated 70,000 draft picks.
Yep. Hey, you being smart about accumulating picks that you need and you can leverage. It's a different way of looking at it. I get what you said. I don't think the Seattle piece was a backstab because the city didn't even want to build a new arena. Key Arena was considered the worst one in the league, and they said, "Look, if y'all get a new arena, we ain't going nowhere." And the city said, "Nah, we good."
I'm not buying that. He was moving that team, no clue. It was well known he wanted to do it. You got all your connections in
this way. I'll give you that. I'll give you this on the conspiracy. They knew that Seattle was not going to build a new arena. They knew Seattle was going to refuse it. They were going to say, "Nope, we don't have any interest in doing it." Because I think that's why Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, sold the team. because the city told him numerous times, we ain't replacing this arena. For what? And you got a Seattle dude based in Seattle, a Seattle guy, Starbucks CEO, sells the team because he's like, y'all not going to do anything for me? I'm just going to get rid of the team. So in theory, the backstabbing was the guy in Seattle who basically said, nah, we good. But Oklahoma City, the reason why the team was able to move so well is they had the perfect audition of any team probably in history.
Yeah.
When Hurricane Katrina happened and they had to move New Orleans somewhere, OKC, and this I was in college, and I went to a sports business deal they had there in Oklahoma City right before the Thunder when the Hornets were there. And the guy was telling us about how they actually won the Hornets in that deal. And so when Hurricane Katrina happened, they needed a place to play. Oklahoma City stepped up and said they'd be interested. A few other places was cool. And then back then, there were 5 teams in the NBA that had a 7-figure title sponsor for the team. Back then, 5 teams league-wide had that. It was cool. Yeah. Oklahoma City had 6 in just Oklahoma City that was going to be that level of sponsor for the team moving in. And the NBA was like, wait, y'all got that kind of money there? And then they realized, oh, wait, there's like 10 or 12 billionaires that live in Oklahoma. And there's businesses out of Oklahoma that have a bunch of we didn't realize that. So when they brought them in, they're like, oh, yeah, they actually are going to run a 5-star situation. We'll consider it if we decide to expand. And the Sonics happened. And that's when Otis was like, look, man, if y'all ain't going to build a new key arena, our players don't even want to go visit that arena. I got to do something. Led to it, but I get you on the conspiracy, on the backstab. I get you. I feel bad for Seattle fans. I heart them, even though now we champions. I heart them, while at the same time should have actually cared about your team.
No, that really makes me fearful going. I mean, obviously they'll be in the conversation for the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, to even add to that, Oklahoma City went into luxury tax for 3 years with Paul George and Russell Westbrook. And they had no problem with being there. They learned a lesson from the Harden piece, but at the same time, I think Presti saw something in Harden to understand why he got rid of him. I mean, isn't that what everybody called him? And don't they all call Harden a choker right now? Isn't that kind of like the conversation? The dude kind of disappears.
He wouldn't have been the one with the ball. It would have been KD. So
Harden basically did for OKC what Jalen Green did for Houston this year. Like he had a lot of no shows in the playoffs. Like when they lost to Miami in the finals, I remember Trina. I remember
Trina
KD. I remember Westbrook. I don't remember anything from Harden.
Trina, dog, he was dating Trina at that time. Trina was in Oklahoma City at games. Yes, the Trick Daddy put it on us. Him and Trina was playing games. Got them Miami, them Heat championship. Why? Yeah. James Harden didn't show up. That man didn't have legs on them games for some reason. But he got to the point where he started deferring a lot. You saw that with the Clippers this year. Yeah. It's like, dude, you in a closeout game. Kawhi's putting everything on the line, and you barely shot the ball, 5 times? What are we doing?
But you know what would have made that situation right? There was a rumor, and there was an article written, but the source wasn't like a known source or a huge source. Mm-hmm. I don't know how true it was. You can tell me that you in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. But there was a rumor at some point that Danny Ainge and Rondo was having issues, and there was a trade offer for Rondo for Westbrook straight up back then. And this is before Harden left. So if Rondo would have came there, Harden could have started at the 2. And then there would have been Harden, Durant, and Rondo. Rondo would have made sure both of those guys got their shots. And I think that would have been better than Westbrook. I would have loved to see that. And I also would have loved to see y'all not trade or not let Jeff Green go.
Uncle Jeff was the one that kind of got me. It would have been great having Katie and Uncle Jeff together for longer. But then the unfortunate thing, Jeff Green ended up missing like a season and a half because of the heart situation. Not long afterwards. It seemed like as players were moving around, not long after something kind of came up. And then like with the Harden piece, it was more so dude just vanishes. I mean, they missed 27 threes in a row in a closeout game. Harden has unfortunate history of it, and I think that they recognize that late into it. Now, for OKC, what sucks is. And this is the one thing that a lot of people forget. They trade Harden. They're the number 1 seed in the West the next season. Like, much didn't change. Then the Pat Beverly attempted steal when he knew they were calling a timeout towards ACL, towards meniscus.
Yeah.
Knocked him out for the year. That's when everything started to derail. Then the next season, KD was gone with the Jones injury on his foot. We're like, oh shoot, that's horrible. Then they finally start to get a little bit healthier late in the year because Russ came back, and then Serge Ibaka hurts his calf right before the Spurs series, in which you need him against Tim Duncan. You ain't gonna do nothing without Ibaka because Tim is put in a clinic, but Tim was having problems dealing with in 2012 with Ibaka. Then that fell apart. And then the next year, you go up 3-1 against the Warriors. And yeah, everybody forgets how to play basketball. So it's the 16 was just bad. 12 was bad too. It was just two. Those were on the team themselves. But in between there, all them injuries, there's not much you can do about it. But at the same time, what the game that Presti was playing, the league changed. That's when you saw so much more motion, and that's when Golden State went up because you saw so much motion with them in San Antonio. And Oklahoma City was built to play defense against those two teams. That's literally what it was. And in offense, KD, go cook. We know you're a 50, 40, 90 cat. We ain't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Go cook. But the problem when that motion started coming in, you started to realize, oh, you can't really do that game like that anymore. You got to change. You got to switch it up. And they didn't have the guns to. They didn't have 3 and D guys. They had D guys.
So this is the thing.
Sucks.
And that's what Jeff Green would have been phenomenal for y'all.
Yes.
He was some years before everyone started really playing a 4-man that could switch everything, who could guard a post player, can guard a perimeter player, and also get some buckets and stuff like that. Like Jeff Green should have been like he's a better player than Draymond Green. He's a better player now after post the heart surgery and all that stuff. I mean, it looked like he kind of like taking it easy and stuff like that. But I would much rather have Jeff Green in any role at the 4 than I would with Draymond. And if y'all could have kept him in Oklahoma City with Kevin Durant, man. But I guess y'all felt like y'all had redundancy because was y'all using him as a 3? And Kevin Durant was a 3 as well. Like, is that redundancy?
Yeah, KD was your 3. Green was your 4. The biggest problem is you didn't really have a 5 that was enough of a threat until when you had all of them together. Like I mean, you don't want to put KD at the 5. That's just to me at his size, it makes no sense. Like, there's no value. But yeah, you start to see the redundancy. Somebody had to go to the bench and. Yeah, you could get more. I wish they would have kept Uncle Jeff. He was one I would have fought for. But if you keep Uncle Jeff, you don't probably get Ibaka. You don't get Steven Adams later, stuff like that.
True.
So
true.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Jeff Green would have been great to hang on to as a long-term piece.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't gonna get no disagreement from me. I love Jeff Green. Uncle Jeff, he played for the Celtics. That's when he had the heart thing going on. So I quite know about that as well. I don't know if I agree with you, Mel, on the Draymond thing, though.
You don't think Jeff is better than Draymond?
I don't. I think
he's a better scorer.
Very, very, very good to great player. But I just think Draymond, the defense, the rebounding, the physicality are things that Jeff Green did not necessarily bring in the spades.
Jeff Green defense was amazing, dog. And he could shoot
the
three. I watched this man at Georgetown send the Tar Heels to the crib, and I was a Tar Heels fan back then. I watched Jeff Green. I was like, man, who is this dude? Man, they could not do nothing with him. And this dude was phenomenal, man. Play the 2, 3, 4. It don't matter. I mean, I like Jeff. I like Draymond Green and his defense. I like his attitude. I like his leadership and all that stuff, man. Jeff Green don't have the leadership, man, but Jeff Green got everything else. I'm sorry.
I agree. I'm with you there. I don't know if he's better than Draymond though. I can't give him the Draymond.
He can shoot.
Draymond is so good at defense, man, and architecting the defense for them. And Dre, I mean, even with that backpack on, man, he makes a 3 here and there.
Every now and then. I didn't know.
He gets out there and he gets the shot up.
Draymond, that dude. He that dude, and he got more offensive ability than people give him credit for because he was a scorer at Michigan State. Like he posted up. Yeah. He was a point forward. He was impressive. He's impressive.
But he realized his role. And I think that's the one thing that a lot of people don't get about a lot of these players in the NBA is the ones that figure out their role, they're so much better long term. So much better for them. So I got to jump real quick. y'all aren't here in 30, I'm coming back. I want to hear about y'all's thoughts on these trades.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about some trades. Mel, let's get your final thought on that. Do you think OKC can go back to back? What do you see as their future, in the next few years?
Yeah, everything they said, it ain't like they got a whole bunch of free agents they got to figure out what to do with this summer, so they can at least bring that squad back. Make a couple of moves in free agency because you don't want to bring the exact same team back because everyone else is getting better, right? So just stand still is sometimes a win because you didn't lose nothing, but sometimes stand still means that somebody moved in front of you in some capacity. So and bringing new guys in actually helps energize the locker room, like, because you got a new guy that never won that's like, man, I'm hungry just as y'all was hungry last year, so you need somebody new, and then everybody else they got somebody to play for. I want to get him one, you know what I mean? So you need to figure out a way to manipulate that mentally. So yeah, make a couple of moves this summer, bring some new guys in, some vets that they can help, a hungry one that never won and maybe one that has won. So yeah, they got a good chance to defend that title next year, for sure.
As you mentioned, stagnation is something that will hurt teams if you just stay stagnant. And that was one thing, I was worried about with my Celtics last year when they didn't make any moves after winning the championship. But also, you got to worry about injuries, right? We're seeing injuries all over the place now that can easily affect your team. So as you mentioned, making moves in the offseason, even just for reinforcements, bench players that could possibly step up if injuries were to come in play, is something that's always important as well for you to do as a championship team, is to build on the edges. Right, build that bench depth out. A couple notes for Professor's facts here for you. The Thunder, just the fourth team in NBA history to win 84 games. Over their 105 games, they outscored opponents by 1,243 points, which was the largest cumulative point differential in NBA history. And their differential of 11.8 ranks fourth all time. So if you actually go to point differential, they're fourth all time in terms of that scoring margin. Thunder were also the best defensive team by a wide margin. They allowed 2.5 fewer points per 100 possessions than the second-ranked Magic. So a huge difference there between the first and the second team and the rest of the league in terms of defense and how good that defense is with Dort and Williams and bringing all these players in. You got Caruso as well that you signed that came in and played a really big role. Then you got SGA. There's nothing more that needs to be said about the kid that pretty much won all the awards across the board. I agree with all of you. I believe they can not only. Vegas has them favored right now to go back to back. So right now, Vegas has them favored, and it's not unfathomable to see that. It wouldn't be unfathomable to see them win 3, because again, they're not even in luxury tax penalties yet. So we'll see where it goes from there. All right, cool. Well, that was a great conversation about that. Let's go ahead and move it on to some off-season news. One of the biggest off-season news of the year after we just talked about Sam Presti and all the moves that he made. There's a bunch of trades that have been coming out. And the first one, the main one that we have to talk about, the biggest one, Phoenix Suns trading Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. The Rockets receive Kevin Durant, while the Suns will get back in return Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the 10th round pick in the 2025 draft, and 5 future second round picks. Bobby G, let's start with you on this one, brother. How do you feel about this trade?
Yeah. Actually, if I'm Houston, I don't know if I would have let Jalen Green go. It actually kind of makes me think if something was going on like behind the scenes. I know he didn't play particularly well in the playoffs. He's inconsistent, but he's a young up and coming.
Still player. A good young player, right?
Yeah. And you've done what you've done thus far with him and Şengün, kind of as your base, your core. KD has it. I mean, the allure of having KD over the last about 5 or 6 years has just become like, so what?
It's diminished. Yeah.
Like you went to Brooklyn, nothing happened. Granted, he wears shoes that are half a size too big. Maybe that would have been different that season if his foot wasn't on the line. But nothing happened there. You go to Phoenix, nothing happened there. It's like, what am I expecting? They got knocked in the first round by a more experienced team. Not gonna say a better team, but a more experienced team, and it showed in that series. and I really got to wait to see like what happens in the rest of the West. I mean, Ant-Man has shown the ability to carry a squad as far as he can. If we get him some help, are the Rockets better than Minnesota? We don't know. Are they better than the Nuggets right now? We don't know. So I think there's more questions than answers for Houston, even with that deal.
Now, on Mel, on my show last week, the Professor Seminole Mente, I was talking with my boy Lion Reese Penn, and we were talking about this possible trade to the Houston Rockets. And I said that I felt Kevin Durant was the perfect piece that Houston needed to go with those young cats. They needed someone that, all of those young kids can play defense. Amen Thompson is a superstar in the making. But Kevin Durant brings that lethal shooting, that killer option in the last minutes of the game, a leader, a proven veteran that's been there. I think he is what they need to be that championship contender. Now, I'm not necessarily putting him above anybody per se, but the West is wide open. The East is completely wide open now that especially the Celtics being down now without Tatum. So, how do you feel about the prospects here of the Rockets getting Kevin Durant and being championship contenders?
All right, so the only reason why you even question it is because he's about to turn 37. Right? That's the only reason why you can he really do anything for you? So, but here's the thing. I don't believe in a 37-year-old leading your ball club. Okay. Right? If he was an additional piece, if he showed up and, like you had the infrastructure around him to where his age don't come into play, because I mean these young boys is running the league. We just seen a bunch of young boys win the finals, right? They running, they getting out and running and stuff like that, and that's just not KD's game like that no more for 82 games plus playoffs. Neither it is Steph's anymore. I mean he didn't even hold up in the playoffs. It's not LeBron's anymore either, right? So yeah, you can get these old guys and they're 3 generational players. Steph, LeBron, and KD, they're generational players, but those teams are going nowhere. Like they keep trying to inject some type of energy in them by, oh man, mid-season trade for Luka, mid-season trade for Butler. Phoenix was trying to get Butler. Like when you got a player that's a max player that's making $50 million a year, it's a red flag that they need some type of mid-season trade to make them competitive. You're paying a guy max money that can't really lead your ball club for real. Right. So that's the thing with Durant going into Houston. But here's the thing. If you was to bank on a player that could give you one last hoorah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like if you had your choice, like, man, I could get Kevin freaking Durant, and I know he's 36, he's still in good shape, he's still good, get you 28 a game. If I could get one last hoorah out of him, would I rather have that or would I rather have Jalen Green? So basically what Houston really did was traded Jalen Green's 23 points a game for Kevin Durant's 28 points a game. And they traded Dylan Brooks' defense for Amen Thompson's defense, because now he get to play all the minutes he can stand. Dylan Brooks is gone. I ain't got to worry about playing Jalen Green. I ain't got to worry about paying Dylan Brooks. They both gone. I can pay Amen Thompson. I can have Durant for 2 or 3 more years, and then we can keep going forward. Right. So that's all it is. Udoka was with Brooklyn as an assistant with Steve Nash with Durant. He seen the work ethic, and then he game planned against him when they swept Brooklyn while he was in Boston, and he knew what he had to do against Kevin Durant just to make it even, like, just make it tough on him, and he still averaged whatever he wanted to average. You know what I mean? So I like Udoka's leadership. I know that team gonna be ready to play defensively. And now all they got to worry about is can Kevin Durant show up in the fourth quarter and give me buckets or show up in big games? I think he can. So it might be a good fit. We'll see.
That's what you need. And that's what I was thinking too, is that seeing the way that he's come back from his Achilles injury, seeing the way that Klay Thompson has as well, not too many setbacks. You would hope, like you said, you could just get at least 2-3 more solid years of him shooting that jumper and pretty ass jumper that'll just sink every time. Come on, Bobby G, hit me. What you thinking?
Bobby, let me ask you this, Bobby.
Right.
When Dirk played and won that championship in Dallas with J Kidd. I mean, J Kidd was the old guy. He was what, 38, 39 maybe?
Somewhere
38?
thereabouts. Yeah.
Because I think he went to New York after that, right? Yeah, so he might have been 37 or 38. Okay. And how old? He was a little younger.
He was early 30s. Early 30s.
Let me see.
Might have been 32, 33.
Is there any similarities to that run? Okay, so Dirk and the Dirk situation and KD situation not that similar, but the KD situation is similar. They give you any hope? Like, oh man, Sangoon, Durant, Udoka. Like, is there any hope?
No, because it doesn't. Let me say it doesn't give me hope over the Mavericks situation. Because remember, that entire team was veteran laden. Like, you had a bunch of guys who wanted to go.
Okay.
Jason Terry, they just had a veteran squad. This is a young squad. KD is now the old man in the locker room. Like, him and Van Vliet is going to be in the corner playing dominoes, and the rest of these team is going to the club. So, like,
yeah.
Kidd was 38 that year, by the way. Jason Kidd was 38 that year.
And
they got Uncle Jeff over there.
Still ticking, baby.
They got Uncle Jeff over there. Look, listen. There's free agents that's out there right now. Van Vliet, I like him. I wouldn't want to start him because he's getting up in age either too. And I like his instant offense off the bench. And I want a bigger point guard. I would go get Dennis Schroeder if Detroit lets him go. If Detroit don't sign Dennis Schroeder, I would get Dennis Schroeder. If Dennis Schroeder is not available, I still want a big point guard that can play defense. I would go and get Dennis Smith Jr. off his couch. I'd rather start him.
Taking away from their identity. They were a tough, defensive, scrappy team. You bringing in all these guys who are bucket getters. Now you're messing with your identity and your cohesiveness.
No, Bobby, they both play. They both scrappy on defense though. Dennis Schroeder and
nobody scared of Dennis Schroeder. They're gonna pick and roll and switch and attack that man all game long. Ain't nobody. And Dennis Smith Jr., man, come on, man. Come on.
Hey, you need to go back out there and watch them Lakers games when they had to pull D'Angelo Russell off the floor so they can put Dennis Schroeder in for defense.
Did they get the championship? No.
No, that's because they had a 1,000-year-old daggone non-shooter like LeBron leading them.
I mean, yeah, it's just not. And I mean, you talk like, look, Schroeder was just in Detroit. Did they get the job done? No. Like, nah, man. That's my point. He's gonna go to Houston. He's gonna get ball, and then they go on fishing. Like, no, like you messing too much with identity. You can't mess too much with identity.
So there's no moves they can make to make the Durant thing and his age be a little bit softer landing.
They're gonna have to transform the bench. I agree with you. Hey man, Thompson probably hops into the starting lineup. You have to. Veteran teams are winning. I mean, we could talk about how young OKC is, but guess what? How long them dudes been playing together? SGA is 7. He's going into his 8th season. Like, he's young, but yeah, he's a veteran. Hartenstein, what did they pick up? They picked up veterans. Caruso, Hartenstein. They didn't pick up young guys. They picked up veterans to win. So they're going to have to continue. You got to get some veterans in there. I like Van Vliet being around. He's a champion. He's been there. You got to keep him, but I need more. I need guys who can teach Şengün what the playoffs are all about. I need guys who can teach Thompson what the playoffs are all about. I need guys who can teach Jabari Smith what the playoffs are all about since they decided to keep him. Like, yeah, you got to get more. And the proof is in the pudding. You look, 7 years, 7 different champions, all veteran teams.
Except this one.
To a degree, when they wanted to win, what did they do? They picked up veterans. So you can say, their average age, but they picked up veterans. So him going there, if it depends on what happens with the rest of the regular season. And then, like I said, you got a bunch of teams in your conference who ain't afraid of you. The Nuggets aren't afraid of you.
That's very true. I mean, but so let me ask you this:
afraid of KD. He trash talk KD all series.
Let me ask you this though: what made them number 2 in the West this season?
The regular season is different. It's different when it's, we play at Miami tonight, we play in Denver tomorrow night, 2 nights from now we playing the Knicks. It's different when it's Golden State. It's Steph. It's Steph.
Understand, but so if KD's on that roster against Golden State, you don't have to worry about Jalen Green not showing up and having to be benched in the fourth quarter. Like, you got a problem that needs to be double teamed when he get the ball now, not just saying going in the post.
But then I'm gonna put my focus elsewhere. So they're gonna turn into that team that's, hey, let KD do what he does and let's stop everybody else.
I like that better than what they was doing.
I was gonna say, I don't know that. I don't think I hate that idea. I like that idea.
And then I'll go back to my previous point. What has letting KD do what he does? What did it do for the Nets?
Yeah, but think about the Houston Rockets as a team, like we talked about, right? They were a really good team, regular season or not. They were a really good team last year that were really young, which means they're only going to get better like Oklahoma. And they're, like you said, as they play more together, though. And Udoka is a great coach with young players, especially. And if he can have another veteran player who's a second coach on the team, a player coach, if you will, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's a great mix for at least to try to win the next year. At least next year.
I mean, where do you have them? I mean, right? Are they the second best team in the West? Are they the third? They're definitely not better than OKC. I don't think they're better than the Nuggets.
OKC would be one. Who would you put two?
I would, depending on what Minnesota does with their roster, I would say Ant-Man. I'm not even gonna say Timberwolves. Ant-Man is the second best team in the West.
I mean, really.
Timberwolves number 2. Who would you put number 3?
The Nuggets.
The Nuggets? Nah, I won't put the Nuggets.
They falling. No, I would still go with Houston over. I think I would put Houston over. Well, it's going to be right there. Houston and the Timberwolves are going to be neck and neck.
Me personally, I hope everybody put Houston as low as possible just to keep the heat and the spotlight off of them. And I just want them to do all their work slowly. Please do not put Houston as any type of contender and favorite and direct, project to be number 2 in the West. Don't do none of that.
Hey,
just say they're gonna be sorry and let them prove you otherwise.
Next year, the Warriors are actually gonna have a whole year together.
It ain't gonna make no difference.
Look.
Hey, they're a year older. They're a year older.
They are a year older.
But that's what they were the favorite over that team without KD. They were the favorite.
Yeah, because Vegas knows something.
That they were better than the Rockets.
So let's look at some of these other teams in the West then. Let's talk about the Suns, who we were just talking about. What are they going to do? They got 5 shooting guards and no one else. Are they going to start 5 shooting guards? They got to trade Bradley Beal, right? Or Devin Booker? Somebody going to be calling.
He got that no trade clause, so he ain't going nowhere he don't want to go. Exactly. I'm hoping the reason why he wouldn't let them trade them during the season is because I just moved my family here. They just started school. We just bought a house. We're not leaving during the school year. Maybe that was what it was. So maybe he's more willing to move during the summer because the team obviously don't want him. And who wants to be there with a team that don't want you, right? So I mean, if I'm Phoenix, I'm not keeping Jalen Green or Bill. And I might just send both of them to the same destination and see if I can get a 2-for-1. And everybody that I hear having issues with a star player, I'm calling them. I heard they're having issues in Charlotte with LaMelo Ball, and they don't know what they're going to do on draft day, whether he's getting traded. I heard his brother on his podcast say LaMelo Ball is going to L.A., and they go draft VJ Edgecombe, right? I'm hearing all this, so if I'm calling Charlotte right now, it's like, hey, look, 2-for-1. You can get Bill, and for you to take Bill's contract, I go ahead and throw Jalen Green in there with it.
Right. Yeah.
Just give me Melo. Y'all don't want him no more. And I will start my offense with Melo at the 1, Booker at the 2. Right now, I'm swapping first round draft picks. So I think Phoenix got maybe number 10. They just got number 10 in the trade. Yeah, so I would give them number 10 for Charlotte's number 4, and I'm taking Ace Bailey. So I'm going Melo Ball, Devin Booker, Ace Bailey at the 3. I figure my 4 out later, and I'm finally starting. I'm starting Bo and giving him the minutes he deserves.
Let's go, Bo! Yes, let's go. Yes. That's who I want starting every game. Bobby G, how do you feel about the Suns and what they should do?
Matt Ishbis should sell the teams. They don't know what the hell he's doing.
Okay.
That's put together all-star roster and didn't go get a point guard. That's like an NFL team not having a quarterback.
Bobby, you know what the mistake was, right? the mistake was bringing in Bill.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Also,
was a
I
mistake.
agree with.
They were
I know they had
trying
the
to get way too
conversation.
much.
Yeah, but they had the conversation. I think it was on Draymond's podcast about this stuff. That next CBA, we got to do something about this no trade clause. That's a one-time use. You see your contract, you use it, it has to go. That man shouldn't be able to maintain that forever.
Where
Like,
every
this
team
is
he
the
goes
dumbest.
to, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Because what's going to happen is it's going to be they're not going to give it to players. They'll give them more money before they give
That's
them
exactly what's
that
gonna
kind of control.
I mean, sure, I think it's only 2 players he got, one Bill and LeBron.
Yep, because of that
Well,
exact reason.
Yeah.
And by default, Bronny got one. So try to trade Bronny if you want.
He got something
Try to
better
trade
than
Bronny
no
if you
trade
want.
clause.
Greatest no trade clause ever, right there. You know, that's the most. That's the most.
Evidently, KD had some under the table no trade clause because he was able to predict which teams he wanted to go to. They couldn't even trade him last year. They wanted to trade him the season. He was like, "Nah, I ain't going." Because the Warriors wanted him to come save them.
Yeah. No, he just has that star power.
I was gonna say sometimes you don't need that on paper. Yeah, you just say what the fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was an under the table deal. I think when he came from Brooklyn, he was like, "Look, man, this situation I wasn't in," because he had the same thing with Brooklyn. He was like, "Look, just y'all traded Kyrie, all right, man, go ahead." Because remember that he requested a trade during the summer, and then he came back and was like, we'll play the season and see how it go," and then it didn't go well because Kyrie tweeted the movie out.
Yeah.
And then when they got rid of Kyrie, KD was like, "Man, y'all didn't do what y'all promised me what y'all was gonna do. So go ahead and send me elsewhere."
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, he got a lot of power with his organization.
Yeah. After he nuked the team. KD went over there and Brooklyn was like Chronicles of Riddick when dude walked out to the sun on that planet and just dissolved. That's what he did to them. That's what he did to the Nets.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of culprits in that situation. So, but all right, so let's look at another trade. Then another couple teams here. Memphis Grizzlies shocked everyone, sending Desmond Bane for the shock being 4 first round, 5, 1 protected, which is only top 2 protected, so it's not really protected at all. So it's pretty much 5 first round picks, and KCP and Cole Anthony. Now, a lot of people are pointing out the fact that Desmond Bane does fill the spots that Orlando needs, the 3-and-D, all that good stuff. But that's a lot to give up. That is a lot to give up for any person, and especially, again, if it doesn't make you necessarily the best in the East. Now, the East is wide open again, so they're going to be at least better, and they do have a nice core 4 there with Wagner and Suggs and Banchero. But I don't, again, does this push, it's that question, does this push them to a championship contender? Because if it doesn't, then was it worth giving up that massive haul? Mel, start us off here.
No, it don't make them contenders, but it put them on, on par with majority of the playoff teams in the East. Because I mean, in the East, there was Boston, there was Cleveland as far as regular season performance, and then everybody else was like, afterthoughts, right? But if Indiana just got to the finals with what they had, good coaching can get you there, right? So Banchero's a star. He's on verge of being a superstar. Desmond Bane is a good third. I don't know if he's a co-star, but I think he's at least a third type player. Your third scoring option, and he's tough nosed. He's not afraid of nothing. He's not afraid to take shots. He's not afraid to play defense. Like I like his attitude. I think he'll help the locker room. I like the pick. I mean, what they get? You said 5 second-round picks. What was it?
Oh, 4 first.
No, 4 first round and 1 protected first, but it's only top 2 protected. So
first rounders, yeah. That's
now they are going to be late first rounders because it's
you
Orlando. Well, you would hope, yeah. You'd hope they're going to be at least 20.
The 5 first rounder is wild. I like the pickup of Bane though, but the first rounders, that's crazy. But in the end of the day, like, it is what it is, man. We got both Wagner brothers. We got Banchero, we got Jalen Suggs, like that. Those are our first rounders. Like, how many first rounders you need? Young ones at that. Like, at this point, I'm looking for vets. right? I got a young core guys. I need vets. They need to learn how to win. So it's a strategy. It is what it is. Like, one strategy is loading up with draft picks and then hoping you catch fire or lightning in the bottle with one of these draft picks. And OKC kind of did that with Chet and Williams, but getting the SGA was like not that. Getting the SGA was like, oh, we got Paul George and y'all want him.
Right.
Let me get that guy. So, they kind of, it's a little bit of luck involved in there. It's just not first round picks. Right. So you got to get the guy. Like, San Antonio got Tim Duncan. He was the guy. They tanked for him. David Robinson had to get hurt. Otherwise they wouldn't get him. Right. So it is what it is. The main thing is to find the guy. And I think Ben Carroll can be the guy for them. So they already got that part out the way. So, why use all those first rounders trying to find the guy that you will not go be able to afford to keep both of them?
No, I hear that. Okay. Bobby G, what you think about it?
No, Mel's right. Like it's having the picks. I mean, you have to pick hit on them. I don't like the value. It's like Shark Tank. Like half of the people that get dismissed off Shark Tank is because they screw up the valuation, right?
Mm-hmm.
The valuation on Desmond Bane was screwed up. Like, and it goes back to these teams overplaying for role players. Like, put yourself in a situation now where it's like if a guy has a good season and he's on his rookie deal, you have to max him out in fear that another team will pay him. And it's made teams, because of that, now we have to spend extra capital to get off these now bad contracts, because that's exactly what it was. The original deal was 2 picks. The other 2 picks was thank you for taking this egregious contract off of our hands, which is BS. And what it does, like in no world should Desmond Bane go for 4 first-round picks and KD go for 1.
That's insane. And Luka go for, how many Luka went for? 1?
Yeah, what? Not even. Oh, no, they gave up that last first round. But yeah, and Rudy Gobert go for 4 first-round or 5 first-round picks. Like this is it's insane. Like what we like, come on, son. But I don't like the move for Orlando because it's not like this is the piece that puts you over the top. They still need more work.
That's true.
You got Jalen Suggs. Yeah, you have him. Is he elite? No.
No, he's not elite. He's solid, not elite.
Solid. Plus, he's coming off injury. Is he still going to be solid, or is he going to regress? We don't know. Same thing with the older Wagner, Mo Wagner, coming off injury. Is he going to be that same aggressive guy, that goon type? We don't know. So if they had their team complete and it was like, oh, we need a guy like this to get over the top, sure, go ahead, spend that capital. But now, once next season, when you find out, and next season is going to be fool's gold for a lot of these teams that are like on the come up. Because remember, the Celtics are going to be down that shit because of injuries. The Pacers are going to be down. The Bucks are going to be down because of injury, and we have no clue where Giannis is going to play basketball. Like, so a lot of teams going to be some fool's gold out there because basically three of the 4 top teams in the East aren't going to be what they should be. So
no Dame, no Tatum.
So when Orlando finishes with the 2 seed and they think, oh, we don't need to make changes. No, they're going to find out very quickly that following season, you needed those picks to make the additional trades to get the assets you need to compete with the bets. So I just don't like it right now. I think it was a mistake.
Do you see any possibility of them getting at least half them picks back? Is anybody on their roster they can get a first rounder for in the future? Maybe at the deadline.
Only Paolo. Right now, only Paolo.
Yeah.
Not even.
But I will thank God that they drafted Paolo Banchero because going back to our previous conversation of OKC, can they repeat? If Orlando had not taken Paolo number 1, Paolo
he would have been in OKC
on the Thunder. Yeah, remember Chet? The whole talk was Chet was number 1, Chet was number, and then they came out and took Paolo.
That'd be crazy.
And then the Thunder was Chet number 2. So
imagine that.
For all my WWE fans, thank God for the New Day and the Orlando Magic for taking Paolo Banchero.
The New Day. New Day. The
New Day.
That's crazy. That would be wild if he was on that team. All right, let's catch up on some other news here, and I got to get caught up on comments. I apologize to everybody. I'm on a new system, and I forgot completely about the chat. So my bad to everybody in the chat. AP, You know I love you, brother. I apologize. This was from way back at the beginning of the conversation when we were talking about basketball ratings. Old school basketball, no one wants to accept it's not because three-point shooting or whatever the hell LeBron does. Then moving into OKC, I missed all these comments. My bad. All the money OKC made from Game 7 is going to those contracts. 2 top 10 picks are protected next year for OKC, still talking about. They got both Dub and Shy SGA from the George trade, essentially. Very true. Shout out our brother Wildcard Mar in the house. Says a lot of movement today in the NBA. Yep, we're going to talk about a couple more trades that have come through the wire before, since we've been on this show right now. There's been 3 came through the wire. Big Dog Talk Sports, salute to you, my friend. I can't speak today. My brother Clutch Cleveland, OKC fan. Congrats to you, my friend. Alex, amen. Shout out to you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. And finally, Morning Wombat. Appreciate you always tuning in, brother. Okay, so let's move it on to some other news from the day. First trade news earlier, Jrue Holiday getting sent back from the Trailblazers. We're going to talk about the Celtics here for a second because they're selling off the whole farm right now, if you've been paying attention to the news. Celtics send Jrue Holiday to the Trailblazers for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks. Jrue Holiday was actually on the Trailblazers a couple of years ago, and we actually traded Robert Williams and a couple other players to get Jrue for the Celtics to win that championship. So now going back to here, a little inauspicious why they are taking a 37-year-old with a $37.4 million contract. You got to wonder, are they going to move him again? Or do they keep him to teach this young team how to play better defense? We'll see what happens here, but let's go ahead. Start with you, Mel. What do you think about this Holiday to the Trailblazers?
I go out to Bobby. I went first last time. I want to hear what Bobby think.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Bobby. My bad. You right.
I think everybody saw it coming. Celtics ownership basically made it known. We're not trying to spend this bread right now. We got our chips, so y'all gonna be happy with that for the next few seasons. Okay. Yeah, like it just is what it is, and especially it was confirmed once Jason Tatum went down, that you knew he more than likely is going to miss the entirety of the 25-26 season. Just shows me I don't want to say they don't believe in Jaylen Brown, but I don't think they can put a roster around Jaylen Brown to be as competitive as they want to be. So yeah, more's coming. KP. They also got rid of him. So
yeah. So actually, no. Let me go ahead and weave all that in there, Bobby. To your point. So I'm looking right now. Shams reports Boston, Atlanta, Brooklyn finalize a 3-team trade that sends Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Hawks. Terrence Mann and Atlanta's 22nd pick will go to the Brooklyn Nets, and Georges Niang and a second-rounder will return to the Celtics.
So. Go ahead. Yeah, they're just making cap moves to get up from under that apron, and I mean more power.
Now, there's also a rumor before we keep going, because I want to get your opinion on this before we go to Mel, that the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat are having potential trade discussions for Jaylen Brown and Bam Adebayo. Wow,
I don't think that'll happen.
Why would that happen? Right? Okay, cool. I saw that rumor. I was like, wait a second, what's happening?
I don't think that'll happen. Like,
okay,
well, if is so, I gotta get a good handle on what Boston trying to do. I don't know if they're trying to. We know they're trying to get under
the second apron.
Yeah, they're trying to lower that salary. We know that, but are they still trying to be competitive as well, or are they going and saying we're gonna do a soft rebuild or hard rebuild? What are they rebuild? What are they doing? Right, so. That's interesting. We'll know by some of these next moves if they move Brown, we know it's a little bit different. Now, bringing in Simons, it don't make that very clear, because Simons is just either a placeholder until Tatum gets back, because he's another 20-plus point scorer that can help Brown, right? It changes their team dynamic a little bit, because he's not the defender that Jrue Holiday is.
Yeah. He's a placeholder. Remember, he's on a 1-year deal. He's on expired.
Okay, he's a 3 D. I know what you're talking about.
So basically, he is what D'Angelo Russell was for the Warriors while Steph and Clay was hurt. You know, bringing D'Angelo Russell. Where, as a matter of fact, it was just Clay that was hurt at first. Bringing D'Lo to play alongside Steph just to see how they go until Clay come back. but we're not keeping him, which they did, and they traded him for Wiggins. So yeah, they bringing them in, and they kind of did the same thing with Chris Paul. We just want to get rid of Jordan Poole, bringing Chris Paul is a 1-year rental. So he's just there to provide points, but he'll be traded probably at the deadline. I don't think they'll let him walk in free agency though.
Now, I do agree. Obviously, if you keep Jaylen Brown, you're going to at least try to somewhat compete. He is at least to me, and y'all can disagree with me, and I would love to hear it, but I believe Jaylen Brown is a number one on most teams in this league and could be the number one for the Celtics next year. But if you trade away Porzingis, I see you shaking your head, Mel. You can tell me what you think about that here in a second. But if you're trading away Porzingis, you trade away Holiday, and now you're taking calls on Brown, it looks pretty much like Celtics have decided they want to go full hard pause on that reset on their team. So first of all, why do you not think Jaylen Brown is a number one?
He's not. I don't think he is. So let me not say he's not, because I'm not like a freaking genie in the bottle or something like that. But my opinion, he's a number two with number one capabilities on a temporary basis. Kind of like how I'm a head of household, and in my absence temporarily, my wife can fill in my shoes, but she's.
No, don't you dare disrespect JB like that.
Wait.
Unless your couch is real
I can't do what she do either, but I can do it temporary. No, I'm not, seriously. Like, the way she is with what she do, what her gifts is, I can do it temporarily. She can teach me some of those things, but it's not my pedigree. So I can't do it as well or as long. I can just do it temporarily, and a sheep can only wear, or a wolf can only wear sheep's wool for so long as he'll start itching. So yeah, I can play Mr. Mom for a little bit, and then I'm gonna be begging for her to come back. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, and that's what Scottie Pippen was. Scottie Pippen was a number two that had capabilities of a number one, but when he had a chance to be the number one, he was begging for Mike to come back. He had a 50-win season the first year. The second year, they almost didn't make the playoffs. Right?
Don't forget, he took Portland to Game 7.
Hold on. Who?
Scottie Pippen.
You said Portland?
Yeah, he took Portland to Game 7.
Who was the number
Lakers.
one, though? Who was the number one option?
Scottie Pippen. He was the leader of that team.
Forward of that team and the veteran of that team.
He was the leader.
Okay. I think the number one option was.
It wasn't the score.
That's what I mean. The number one option was Rasheed, and then they had Steve. Steve Smith, who was a number one in Atlanta. We seen him be a number one. Steve Smith was on that team. Detlef Schrempf was on that team. Bonzi Wells was on that team. Damon Stoudemire was on that team. Greg Ant, like that team.
But who was the leader? Who was they following? Scottie Pippen.
I would say, I'll say he was the leader, just like Draymond Green is the leader for Golden State, but he's not the number one option.
He's a defensive leader,
right? He is. He's the locker room leader.
He ain't the
he's the locker room leader as well. So I think. I
mean, if you count punching people in the face, I'll let you have it.
So let me just give you my definition of what the number one option to me is. The number one scoring option, and I think that's a tough task because that's the guy that we're game planning for to stop every night. We're sending the double teams. We're giving him our best defender. He's getting all the attention. So that takes a toll of a player. That's what Karl Malone was for Utah. John Stockton never had to carry that burden. You get what I'm saying? So that's the difference. Now John Stockton led that offense, and he was one of the leaders, probably the leader of that offense. But the number one scoring option was Malone, and I think Pippen was the number one. I mean, he was the leader for Portland, but the number one scoring option that was getting game plan for was Rasheed.
Okay. I still think Jaylen Brown can be the number one, and either way,
and he probably can.
It doesn't matter because if he's the only player there, he's going to have to be. So, and it looks like that's what it's going to be. That looks like
he got to show me. He got to show me.
All right. Now, any other trade or free agency news that y'all have that y'all want to talk about before we get into the draft?
I think one just happened. Another one happened.
Did I miss one?
Let me see. Hold on.
Not up to date on that.
I know Who was it? Jordan Poole,
Yeah,
CJ
Jordan
McCollum.
Poole for sure. That was another one that just happened. I can't find it. Oh man. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, we talked about Chris Stapcher. We already talked about that one. But yeah, I mean, if he don't move, we'll definitely find out if Jaylen Brown can be a number one next season.
No, it was Kyrie Irving signing a 3-year deal with the Mavs.
Oh, okay.
So he finally reached an agreement.
And they're probably going to sign Daniel Gafford to a new contract too. They have to.
I think they already did.
Did that go through? Okay. So they're getting the whole band back together, which brings us a great segue. Thank you, Mel, to the draft tomorrow because the Dallas Mavericks have the number 1 pick in the draft tomorrow night and are expected to select Dukes, Cooper, Flagg, which would give them a starting lineup of the aforementioned Flagg. And then as well, you're going to have Kyrie Irving once he is healthy enough to come back. Obviously, yes, I know he's not going to be playing right away, but you still got Klay Thompson there. You still got a good enough team. They're hoping one that can win the championship when everybody's healthy. The problem is that you do have AD and Kyrie there who are all injury prone. So with Cooper Flagg being the expected number 1 pick, with Ace Bailey refusing to work out with teams and being a little bit of a wild card here on where he may get selected. Let's go ahead and get thoughts on the draft. Mel, what you got for us?
So I guess I'll talk about Ace last. I'll talk about Cooper first, right? I watched him during the season and I was like, you know, is he really the number 1 pick? You know what I mean? Like, do you want him to do you want to put the team on his back? Like, I don't know. And so my initial thoughts was that Ace Bailey was the number 1 prospect for me. I know most teams wouldn't feel like that and wouldn't want him. And they really got Dylan Harper over him as well. But I think I would rather have Ace over both of those guys, right? That's just me personally, right? But then the more I get to pay attention to Cooper, you realize there's like something special about him. Like, you know, it's something like internal that people got like, dang, like he really want it. Right. And you just can't, I guess you can't teach that. So, I went on and conceded that he's the number 1 pick and, you know, most teams should take him. If Charlotte would have got the number 1 pick, I would have took Ace, but Dallas been in this situation. Give me Flagg. I want special, you know what I mean? I want the pedigree for what Dallas got. So he's the rightful number 1 pick. And I hope he turned out to be really good and not like Gordon Hayward, like everybody's predicting him to be.
Oh, God bless. No, I mean, I don't know about that. Damn.
With Ace.
So would you play Brandon Miller at the 2?
If the Hornets got the number 1 pick,
Charlotte would.
Oh yeah. I would have Ace at the 3, Bridges at the 4, Miller at the 2, LaMelo at the 1.
Now, does him not working out concern you if you're a team, or because you saw enough at Rutgers you don't mind?
I'm not scared that he didn't work out at all. Only thing that does is piss teams off to say who you think you are.
Okay.
The same thing that pissed the NFL about Shedeur Sanders. He's too big for his britches. Let's teach him a lesson. That's the only thing that does for Ace. But I'm not afraid of it at all. Like, you know, like if that was the player saying I don't want to do it and it's a competitive edge problem, like if I could sense that he don't want to compete, then maybe that would be concerning. But I don't think it's that. I think it's just bad advice from his agent. And I think some team has told his agent, we're not letting him get past this number right here. We don't need to see him work out. So he's telling other teams that I'm not working out. So he just,
and usually when that happens, that's what happens is they have some sort of guarantee on the back end or whatever.
Correct. Right. So he's getting bad advice, but he's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And that could work negatively against you. Cause you know, you never know if this team don't take you and now what, you didn't work out for none of these other teams and you falling. Right. So, but I'm not scared off at all because he's too good of a prospect for me to pass up. So if San Antonio don't take him at 3, Charlotte, you better grab him at 4. Charlotte, you better grab him at 4. You don't get every time there's a generational talent in the draft, Charlotte always get like a couple of picks after that player. Like, so they can't get.
That shit is so true, yo. That shit is true.
It is, man. They had the most ping pong balls. You be like, man, it's got to be Charlotte's year this year. Oh, Anthony Davis coming out. It's got to be Charlotte. Nope.
Yeah.
Number 2.
They got too lucky too early.
They got Kid Gilchrist.
Remember they had Zoe, LJ, Aaron Davis, and Chris Paul.
That's all they get.
Yeah,
man.
that's wild.
Yeah, but they never get the guy that's number 1. Like when they do get the number 1 pick is Amika Okafor.
Not Amika Okafor. Why you catching straight now?
So they were like, oh man,
that was self-inflicted.
Yeah, it's never. What year did Dwight come out?
That was Dwight. They just chose the senior over the high school.
Well, we didn't.
That was self-inflicted.
Yeah, that's a bad approach to drafting. You drafted 4 years younger. 4 years old.
Amika was the best player in college, though.
That's true. He was. That is very true.
But they missed out on Dwight.
Hey. Now, the dream spot, Bobby G, for Ace Bailey, and most people I think would agree with this, would be for him to fall to the Wizards, who are sort of snake bitten like the Hornets are. The Wizards completely fell out of where they should have been, at least since they tanked the whole fucking season. Bobby G, what do you think about this top of the draft?
Actually, the dream situation would be for somehow the Cleveland Cavaliers to find some kind of trade up there and draft Ace Bailey wherever the pick is. That would be you put Ace Bailey on the Cavs, boy. Woo!
I hear OKC might trade up.
I mean, hell, they got the whole. We can trade you the whole 2026
draft. If I'm OKC, Bobby, if I'm OKC, forget it. I'm trading up. Give me Ace. I'm sorry. I give you topic.
Got a lot of picks.
I give you 2 first rounders.
Yeah, I might do it.
I give you 2 future first round. I give you the first. Did they got a first rounder this year?
I'm sure.
Yeah. So
do.
I swap picks with you this year. I give you 2 future first rounders, and I give you topic. And I just roll Ace Bailey right on out there.
The only thing I think stopping that is I'm hearing he doesn't want to play for like a team who has pressure to win now. That's what I heard. He wants to play. He got
what?
For a bad.
So there you go. There's that competitive issue we just talked about. Right?
To get no, it's not competitive. It's a lot of just like we were talking with Houston. A lot of teams who are in win now, they're not playing young players. He doesn't want that. He wants the minutes. But that's neither here nor there. On there, I'm not mad at his approach. The only thing I'm mad about is take the meeting, bro. You ain't got to work out, but go to the building, shake somebody's hand, have a conversation, let them know who you are as a man. Exactly. That's the only bad advice I think he's getting. But we've seen this before. We've seen it in basketball. We've seen it in football with John Elway, Eli Manning, more famously in the NBA. We've seen it with Steve Francis. Remember, he told Vancouver flat out, "I'm not going there."
Sure did.
So I'm not mad with that and trying to finagle. I'm sure every year there's somebody who's trying to finagle. Matter of fact, recently I just heard that Tyrese Halliburton said he wouldn't play for us because we already had Darius Garland.
Wow, okay. There you go.
So I mean,
but at the same time, like you couldn't beat Darius Garland out. Like that kind of tells me something might be off of your confidence, maybe.
I mean, look at him. He ended up on the team with De'Aaron Fox and then ends up being traded. So I mean, but I'm not mad at that. But like I said, at least just go to take them. Like, if this is just a growing process, and then again, I don't know who he's getting this information for, but whoever they are, I hope it's a man who was raised in manly ways, not no alpha, but just certain things you do as a man. You don't want to play for me, okay? What did you say back in the day? Hey, say it to my face. Come meet with me. Maybe. What if there's something that can be worked out with a conversation? Hey, I feel your franchise is going in this direction. Well, actually, we were thinking that you never know what.
Great example when the Trailblazers traded Lillard and they drafted oh God, help me out.
Scoot Henderson,
right? Scoot. So that could be something like that, where it's like, hey, we're planning on getting rid of the veteran, and we still want to draft you. Which, if you don't take that meeting, you might never know.
Correct.
Exactly. So, I don't where he ends up. I like San Antonio at 2. I mean, I don't
Oh,
think
you
they
think
should
that
pass on him. I
they
think
pass up
that's
on Dylan Harper? I mean, everybody got Dylan Harper number 2.
it did to me. I know, and that's the crazy to me. It doesn't make sense. Like you have Fox, you have
That's true.
Castle, you got
Similar
Chris
to
Paul
Harper,
still.
right.
Yeah.
Like we're stacked at point guard. Why do
Good
we
point.
need another? I need a 3-man. I can move on. I can probably get some good compensation for moving Vassell. You know, like it doesn't make sense for me to draft Dylan Harper. So I think they take Bailey at 2. I think him front court of him, Wemby, and hell me at the 5.
You think San
know,
Antonio? You think San
hey,
Antonio is the team that told them, "Hey, you ain't getting past 2, dog." You think that's why he ain't working out
it
for
could
nobody?
be. Could be. And then
Gotta
San
be top
Antonio,
5.
they still have to. We got to get Wemby medically ready, man. A blood clot's no joke. We saw what it did to Chris
Correct.
Bosh. So what if worst case scenario? No, I hope it doesn't happen. What if Wemby has to miss more time? Like I need a bucket.
Yeah.
I need a bucket on
Yeah.
that team. I mean, Castle, he showed us what he can do, but yeah, I need another guy who can get a bucket, get people excited down there.
And what about my boy VJ Edgecombe from here, or from jeez Louise, from Baylor? I don't know why I can't get my words out. A lot of people think he may be too complimentary of a player, not aggressive enough, like the Ace Bailey or even a Dylan Harper. How do we feel about him still being in the top 5?
I mean, that's how the draft plays out. It ain't a lot out there. I mean, I like the Queen guy from Maryland. He's another freshman though. I like Queen. I mean, but shoot, I mean, what's the difference between Queen and Kenny Lofton Jr. Other than Kenny Lofton, had more weight on him?
It's a very weak draft. You are right about that. It is after the top 5 has a very steep top 5, top 10 is a steep drop off for sure.
I mean, when you got Knoepel from Duke, they're supposed to be like, they got him in the top 5. They talking about Charlotte might take him. If Charlotte take him, boy.
Hey, don't sleep on that. I like him.
But the center from Duke,
not top 5 though.
No, Knoepel.
You like him?
I love. Yes,
Well, I'm gonna go back and watch some more games then, because I ain't seen
I don't like it either. I don't like it either.
I mean, just think of the conditions he played under. He played under 2 of the most watched players in the history of college basketball, and he was kind of the glue that kept those guys connected. Like he seems to me like his NBA role.
But is that a top 5 pick? That doesn't sound like a top 5 pick to me.
It's giving Joe Ingles.
If it works for it depends. If it I think more like it's gonna sound crazy.
It's giving Joe Ingles, man.
Joe Ingles.
This is gonna sound this is gonna sound wild, but honestly, I see a lot of Steve Smith in this game.
The football player.
No, Steve Smith, Atlanta Hawks. Like,
come on, Bobby. Come on, Bobby, man.
Look,
Bobby.
Steve Smith college was a lot different than Steve Smith the pro. Like Steve Smith the pro
he was cold at Atlanta
Steve
too.
Smith in college. He wasn't dominating it. I'm saying he was Knoepel's that kind of guy though. He
seriously, Bobby,
good outside shooter, good inside shooter. He can
seriously.
He can pass the ball. He
can
plays defense.
Do you think he can ever develop to a number 1?
No, and I don't need him to be. Like
so
that's the thing. That's the thing people get. This is why I hate all drafts. It's like we have to look for that. Like, no, if I'm building a team,
very true.
I need to build a team. If
true.
I can't get my hands on A, I have no problem taking D right now. I have no problem taking C right now if I can get A later. That was crazy.
Wild.
That was insane.
Oh my god!
But hey, yo,
I have no problem
taking player C right now if I can't get player A.
That's reckless. That's super reckless. That's
This is like you say, I'm gonna use the team you use as an example. The Hornets. You got Melo. You got Miller. He comes back healthy. You got Miles Bridges A player like him fits right in there. He can be the glue to make those three look madness. I know Lamar's gonna kill me.
I bet he does fit right in there, doesn't he? You like the way he fits right in there, don't you? I can't.
Oh man.
Well, that's too funny, man. Oh boy,
it happens to the best of them.
And you missed my.
I need
And
a drink
you missed
now.
my joke. You took your.
Oh no!
Mel took his headphones off and completely missed my joke.
Hold on, what was the joke? I ain't hear. What'd you say?
No, too late.
I'll watch it on the playback.
Watch it on the replay. 150.
Man, y'all got my face hurting, man.
That's hilarious. Oh, all right, let's move off the draft and talk about a couple other things before we get you all out of here for the night. Key dates coming up in the calendar. Obviously, the draft is tomorrow. Teams can begin negotiating with free agents on the 30th. So that's next Monday. The new salary cap and tax levels apply July 1st. Teams can begin signing free agents July 6th. And the Summer League is from July 10th to 20th. But really important is the Summer League meetings of the NBA Board of Governors, where they will be going in to approve the Lakers $10 billion, and the Celtics $7 billion sales. Mel, actually, we started with you last time. Bobby G, what do you got on the rest of the offseason? How do you feel about the Lakers and Celtics getting sold for huge money? What are we seeing?
We are seeing that there's no money in basketball anymore. There's lots of money for the players and front office guys and employees of the NBA, but these owners aren't seeing the correct dividends. That's why we're seeing these sell-offs. We saw Mark Cuban get out early. He saw the future. Now we're seeing the Bus fam. Who would have ever thought that the Bus
I was so surprised. I was so taken aback.
Like, yeah, we're seeing the Celtics. So if it can happen to these linchpin franchises, what do we see happening? How and OKC's Thunder value is probably as high as it's ever going to be right now. Like in a few years from now, maybe they want to get a couple of bucks. My Cavs, our value is pretty high right now. Dan Gilbert has had health problems. Maybe he wants to make a few. So just watching how these owners are valuing the teams. That's the thing I'm looking out for.
Yeah. What y'all think about how on the hush these team sales have been? Like we're not even hearing them. Hearing about it until the sale is done. Like, remember, it used to be like, oh, this team was up for sale, and it'd be like that for like a year before somebody actually, cut a deal. Like, we ain't even hearing about this.
Well, I guess to be fair for the Lakers, they sold to the person they sold to had a minority stake already.
The Dodgers,
so that was kind of
so it makes
sense. So it wasn't even no bid. It wasn't even no bid. Okay, okay.
Now, the Celtics, on the other hand, I would have loved to get in that bidding, so I'm not sure why we did.
I got a couple of dollars set to the side.
Hey, was the Charlotte Hornets, was theirs on the hush too? Like we just heard about it the day they sold it.
When Jordan did?
I think it was him, then Cuban.
Yeah. You're not wrong. It really has all been on the hush.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's been hush. Yeah, but most of them, they're still staying on as minority, and some of them are still running the basketball. Like Jenny, she's running the basketball operation still. Cuban was supposed to, but he didn't get it in writing, so he didn't have nothing to do with that Luka trade, supposedly.
No.
He would have never had to do it. By the way, I watched y'all both talk about this, but how crazy is it? And I know we talked about riggedness. So we already talked about the draft number one pick is most likely being rigged, but how crazy is that you trade your franchise player? I know that it wasn't necessarily him. It was him and ownership, but as the GM, I get his conditioning. It's something I would never do. Something I would never do. Tell the fans how y'all feel. They don't know how y'all feel in here.
Go ahead, Mel.
I mean, it's two ways to look at it. If you look at it where it's just all the way it's supposed to be, where a GM, evaluate the situation, tell the owner what he wants to do, owner signs off on it. If you just look at it that way, then that means that they looked at how much they was going to pay Luka, and they look at what return they was going to get, whether it was going to be financial return or what he's going to bring to this basketball club return. And they looked at that price tag and said, for that price tag, we don't want to do it. And it could be a couple of reasons why. One, we don't believe in you because you're not taking your health and your conditioning serious. Or it can be what Nico Harris said, defense wins championships, and you're so bad defensively on top of not being conditioned and on top of treating people like shit in this because I see how he talked to those coaches, just kind of the same way Caitlin Clark does. Like
very
like
entitlement,
yeah. Right? So at some point they evaluated the situation and said, for that price tag, it's a no for us. So you can look at it that way, or you can look at it the other way and say, maybe the team ownership had some other stuff, like you hearing rumors about they want to move the team and they want to do this, and then they saying, oh man, the fact that they got that number 1 pick, maybe daggone Adam Silver was involved and they wanted to move Luka for the needs of the
Lakers.
No, the needs of the NBA.
Okay.
So hey, this is the needs of the NBA situation, man. Like in the military, like you get to pick your orders until it's time for them to say, nah, we sending you here, needs of the Navy.
Right.
Needs of the Navy. You never want to be needs of the Navy. Hey, the Navy need 5 people.
We said you was ranking your choices. We didn't say you was getting your number 1.
Yeah. Needs of the Navy. We need you here out here in Afghanistan, man. So maybe sometimes Adam Silver, as the commissioner, can come on and say, hey man, I'm looking at the ratings. We just signed this new deal, and our ratings are dropping, and our sponsors are getting worried. We need some lightning in the bottle. Needs of the NBA. Send that franchise player over here to LA.
Yeah, I mean, and in turn, the needs of the Lakers, because once LeBron and Bronny are gone, they're going to need a star.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's just like when they was like, hey, look. I mean, we got. It's 2 ways you can look at that Pau Gasol and that Garnett trade, right? In the same season, in the same off season, or you know what I mean. So, LA, Boston. Man, let's get the old gang back together, right?
Back together, yeah.
You got Danny Ainge over here in Boston, and you got his old running mate Kevin McHale over there in Minnesota, and then you got Jerry West, the logo, over there in Memphis, and looking over there at the Lakers, and all of a sudden they both make a trade for their franchise player to send to their alma mater, and then they both resign.
I don't know. That sounds pretty obvious to me. I don't know. Bobby, what are you thinking over here, bro?
They didn't have to get. You could have got something. I'm just wishing they would have held off to the offseason, because looking at what's going on now in these trades, they could have got something better than the Slender Man. Like, come on, I'm just not a fan of Anthony Davis.
If he don't get hurt, I'm a fan. Yeah. If he don't get hurt.
But he's going to. He literally got hurt the first game he played after this.
That's hard. That's hard to defend, dog. That's really hard to defend, dog. So for real.
It was a microcosm of Anthony Davis's whole career in one game. It was like,
but that first half was crazy. Hey, tell me the West wasn't scared. That first half, tell me the West wasn't scared.
It was like, oh,
it was
he was
easy.
Right.
And wasn't it Minnesota that was playing?
He
was a good
gave
team.
him the hope. Gave him the hope and yanked it away in the same game. He pulled the football away like Charlie Brown. Yeah, but like they could have waited till the offseason and man, hey, okay, see, y'all got 17 draft picks. Let me get 15 and J-Dub, and we got a deal. Like my only thing is the deal, and that I can't even argue Mel's conspiracy on that one, because it was so, and you didn't even get Dalton Connect. Like,
I would have loved to have. I would have loved to have Dalton Connect. I really like Dalton Connect.
He's a good player.
I really like him.
You allowed them to keep Dalton Connect so they can make another trade, which they got Knicks, but still, no, I'm taking all your assets, bro. Just come on, man, do better. We gotta do better.
Yeah, definitely got to do better. Now let's talk about one last item of the night here before we get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you tap in with the Audible podcast, Man Down Sports, and our brother Jay was on here earlier, Unfair Sports. Please make sure you subscribe and tap in at all of these amazing shows. Hope you all have enjoyed the content tonight. Make sure you hit that like button, whether watching live or on the replay. We really appreciate that. It boosts us up in the algorithm. Knicks coaching search. What the hell is going on? They fired Tom Thibodeau, which, by the way, it's funny because I talked about it right before they fired him on my show, and I said, why are they keeping Tom Thibodeau around when they complain about the way that he, and being a Celtics fan, I know, runs players into the ground because he did it with us too. So I actually kind of thought they may have done this after they got bounced from the playoffs. Needless to say, they did. But then they tried to go hire 5 different coaches and were rebuffed by every single team. Chicago's Billy Donovan, Minnesota Chris Finch, Houston's Ime Udoka, and Dallas's Jason Kidd. Now they are going to talk to possibly Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown. And now a third option has emerged, James Borgio, former coach of the aforementioned Charlotte Hornets. What the hell are the New York Knicks doing? I don't even care who starts. Because I don't know what they're doing. I don't even know what the fuck they're.
See, this is why people hate New York and New Yorkers. It's this thing about New York and people from New York that they just feel like they like. Who made Madison Square Garden the mecca of basketball? No, if you want to say the mecca of basketball, it's Rucker Park, man. It was the city game, the street game that got that going. Who made every rapper from New York the best rapper on earth? If you ask a New Yorker who are the top 5 rappers of all time, they're gonna name 5 New Yorkers. Like, and it goes to the Knicks. Oh, we need a coach. We're not gonna go to the free agent market. We're gonna take your coach because we're the Knicks. He really wants to coach the Knicks. Who are you, bro? Like, what? Who just get and like? You're literally the worst franchise in the modern era.
I haven't won a title since '73.
I'm a Cavs fan, and this is not a homer thing. The Cleveland Cavaliers literally have been the better franchise between the Cavs and the Knicks in the modern era of the NBA.
That's fair enough.
Like,
that's fair.
The Orlando Magic have been a better franchise than the New York Knicks since they've been exist. Like, but they just have this sense of we're New York, you know. Everybody wants to be it. No, stop it. Get out of your own way. Get out of your own way, man.
I mean, just the thought of a man looking for a wife, and he didn't go to the library. He didn't even go to the club. He went knocking on people's door.
He went to his next door neighbor.
Yo, bro, I like your wife.
hey, I want permission. I mean, y'all been together for a while. You probably tired of the bitch, man. Look,
right.
Like, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but like all 5 coaches you look for are already on the contract. I don't understand it, man. But I like the Mike Brown. He should have never got fired in Sacramento, man. The GM bringing in DeMar DeRozan and all that, they kind of messed up what they was doing. Mike Brown had a good thing going over there, man, with De'Aaron Fox and the youngster, the twin. What's the twin name that shoot it? Keegan Murray. You know what I mean? Sabonis was okay. I don't like that they was trying to turn him into like a point forward. You know, he's a good passer and all that stuff, man. But he's really limited offensively, and that pisses me off, man. I want him to be better offensively. So they put too much stock in Sabonis. But other than that, man, that was headed in the right direction, man. So firing Mike Brown was crazy. He deserved to be a coach in this league, man. So if he get the Knicks job, I think that'd be dope. But going door to door though for your wife.
It's like Bugsy, man. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the movie Bugsy. There's a scene where he's driving down the street and he's got like his girlfriend with him, and they're trying to buy a house, and she's like, I like that house. He literally pulls over, walks up to the door, and is like, dude, answer. He's like, yo, I like your house. How much? That's what the Knicks are doing. Man.
It's insanity, man. I can't, man, bro. There's so much funny stuff going on. It's crazy.
And Mar mentions something else, though. We do have to look out for Giannis now. Giannis is on trade alert. Apparently, calls are being taken. Okay.
Yeah, he gonna be in Houston. They go send Sangoon to Milwaukee.
Can I get a real destination?
I'm gonna go. Hey, let's push all the chips in.
What if they did?
How about Dallas?
Dallas would be crazy.
How about Dallas? And Anthony Davis and whatever future picks I can give you, because I'm not giving you Coop.
Well, yeah, no, you wouldn't give up Flagg.
No. But Anthony Davis and whatever picks you want in the future.
What? Hold on now. Would Milwaukee do it just for Flagg, and they keep AD, and they had AD, Giannis, and Kyrie?
Hold on a second.
Yeah, get Slender Man out of here, bro.
I agree. I don't think I would trade Flagg. You would have to trade AD at this point.
Yeah, but it wouldn't match though, because Coop is like future and not ready to help you contend right now, and Giannis and Kyrie ready to go right now, but Kyrie can't go until probably All-Star break.
That's true too.
Like it just wouldn't line up.
That's true.
Had to set him back. Had to set him back, man. So I don't know.
You think it said that? No, I thought they did. Man, I'm trading Kyrie too.
So you going with Giannis and Flagg?
Yep. Whatever I can get, and whatever I can get
Flagg,
for Kyrie.
Lively, and Gafford, the three-headed big man monster there. Right, I'm not mad at it.
Whatever I can get for Kyrie.
There you go. Now, they have said one other thing about Jason Kidd is that because he has not signed an extension and he only has 2 years left, and because the Mavericks have left his assistant coaches, Sean Sweeney, leave already, and possibly Jared Dudley and God Shamgod. How's that for a throwback name? I used to try his crossover all the time. Anyways, have received interest from other ball clubs. So possibly Jason Kidd could, in the future, possibly be a New York Knick if they wanted to try to steal somebody's wife. Chet to Milwaukee, Giannis to OKC, Mars.
Yeah, Kid ain't stupid. This is the same thing that and Draymond Green, this operate like this, where when Draymond Green was looking for his extension, he was on vacation with LeBron overseas in Europe, and the rumors was, oh man, Draymond Green might be going to the Lakers and all this stuff. That's just what they do to make sure that there's interest out there for me, to kind of drive, help my leverage and my negotiating. That's all it is. And J-Kid ain't going nowhere.
Okay. All right. So before we get out of here, one last thing I want to do is get some huge early predictions for next year. Who you got coming out the West? Who you got coming out the East? And who is your early champion? Whoever wants to start.
Out of the West, as it stands right now, it's hard to go against Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And honestly, this isn't a homer thing. It's the basketball guys have made it extremely easy for the Cleveland Cavaliers. As of right now, I like our chances in this East. I believe we could do it, and we get the finals that we should have.
And while Mel's thinking real quick, how did you feel about your team being the winningest team, one of the most win team in the league, and then basically crapping the bed in the playoffs? What contributed to that?
I'm glad you said you used that exact phrase, crapping the bed. After I stopped punching the air, like Trey and boys in the hood. I settled down, and I want to pass a message to all of my Cavaliers fans, because before the season started, if you'd ask any Cav fan, hey, what's your expectations to the season? 9 out of 10 of them would have said, I think we can get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but we probably lose to the Celtics, who are the eventual conference champion. So we made it to the playoffs and we lost to the conference champion. That was your expectation. So was it really, shit in the bed?
That's true.
like we literally met the expectation of every Cavs fan. We made it to the playoffs. We lost to the team who eventually won.
But you won more games than you thought you would have at the beginning of the season.
Oh, absolutely. The season was way big. Nobody saw a 61 season. My personal expectation, I just wanted to see improvement. I know this team is learning how to win. Like we've taken a step. We lost in the first round. Last year, we finally won the first round series. Lost to the eventual conference champion. This year, we dominate a first round series, not just win it. Last year, we went to 7 games. This year, we swept like we were supposed to. In the second round, lost to the eventual conference champion. So next year was the year I actually had us with a legit shot at competing for the championship. So from my personal schedule, we're right on it. You know, yeah, I would have liked to see them do better this year, but I'm not frustrated at all. Again, after I had my voice in the hood moment. Yeah. But,
all right. You know. Mel, what do you got for next year?
I like the OKC out of the West. In the East, it's probably gonna be contingent on if Giannis is traded to a team in the East. If he stays on Milwaukee, then I'm going with your Cleveland pick. But if he is traded somewhere, whatever that team he goes to, I don't think he would want to be traded nowhere that's not a contender, and he's gonna make them even much better. So wherever Giannis go, if it's the East, I probably would pick that team to go to the finals. But I like OKC Cleveland for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to have to make that 3 right now as it stands. You've got to take the top 2 teams that were the best teams last year with how wide open it's going to be with the Celtics injuries and the sell-off that they're having now. There's no way that I think they're going to be competing. Orlando, you got in there that we talked about, who is definitely going to be up there, so we got to watch out for them. The Knicks are still up there, and like you said, wherever
Indiana's still up there too, even though they lost Halliburton. They got 2 backup point guards. It's pretty good.
And that's the thing, like,
right, watch out for the Pistons.
Pistons are young up-and-comers and scrappy too. And that's the thing, though. Even if it wasn't that Lillard got hurt, I was even hot on Milwaukee last year at the end of the year once they started to kind of finally gel. But then Lillard got hurt, so that now you're looking at Lillard's hurt, Halliburton's hurt, Tatum's hurt. So then 3 of your top seeds in the East are already depleted. So yeah, it's pretty wide open, and you got to go with the teams that have the most health and the most depth right now. And those are the ones, although I do now that we just went through all that, kind of like the Magic a little more in the East now.
See? That fool's gold.
Damn it, gold. Okay, cool. Well, hey, thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate my brothers here for staying for over 2 hours. They really did not have to do that, but it was a great conversation, so I'm glad they did. Let's go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, and we'll get out of here. Bobby G, hit them up.
You can find me Thursdays and Fridays. Audible Sports Podcast. On Thursdays, we do reactions, so react to all kind of fun. I just saw something today. So, did anybody on Earth know that Charleston White fought one of the Iron Boys?
I watched the whole fight.
We're going to be reacting to that video.
I watched the whole fight.
The highlights, but I didn't want to.
We're going to be reacting to that video on Thursday, and then Friday you get the original Audible Sports Podcast, where sports meets life and culture, and I don't know what that show's gonna be about yet, but we'll figure it out.
I don't know how that.
And that's also where my bro Wildcard Moore has been in chat. Shout out
our
shout
family
out,
Wildcard. Everybody knows him here. I don't know how that tattooed face fuck got on my algorithm, but somehow I come about his video.
Lamar, you seen it when Lamar posted it. Lamar, I seen it because of Lamar. Lamar posted it, and I seen it, and I was like, "You son of a gun." And I watched the whole thing. I said, Lamar, I'm for you making me watch this. I'm pissed off, man. I watched that whole thing. It was so funny, man.
Horrible ass funny.
So, and one more, and like right after this, y'all can catch me over Rec Room Sports. Hopping on.
There you go. Nice. I'll be sure to catch that up. Mel, where can they find you?
Man Down Sports on YouTube, y'all. We do Full Panel Friday on Fridays at 4:30 Pacific time and 7:30 Eastern time. Yeah, I had to think about that for a second, but yeah,
I do the same thing.
Yeah, with Friday we got the full panel. Is usually at least 4 of us, but sometimes it's 6 of us. And that's that's real good. A lot of good conversation, a lot of debate, a lot of laughter, all that good stuff. And then I do my solo shows randomly throughout the week. So I try to do 1 solo and 1 full panel Friday every week. So you get an opportunity to catch my stuff at least twice a week.
Oh, boss.
Wow. Yowzers. Now catching, you know what? Let me stop. I'm not even going to ask what your stand is on that one.
Bobby, you can't. Bobby, you cannot. Bobby, you've been waiting for somebody to slip. He was
waiting. He was waiting for that shit. He was locked and loaded. Pause. He was locked and loaded.
Oh,
He was waiting for that. I almost got out of here too. You would have been pissed off if you would have caught that one. You was waiting so. Yeah,
Yo,
I got it.
He'd have been so mad.
Cool.
He'd have been off. He'd have been like, "Damn, I didn't get anybody back, man." Fuck.
I've been patiently waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Cool. Well, hey, brothers, again, thank you so much. This was an amazing time. So much fun. We'll get you back on closer to the season. We'll do another NBA review roundtable. Everybody, please make sure you tap in with them on YouTube and all of their other social channels. Really great content there as well. You know where to find me, Ball and Buds, me and the rest of the crew. You got the handy QR code up there, and also hit that like button, whether you're watching live or on the replay, and we will catch you on the flip side. For all my brothers here, y'all have an amazing week. Oh, by the way, I will be on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern with the boxing crew. We'll be going over the fights this weekend. Deontay Wilder, Jake Paul. We'll be talking all the BS fights from this weekend, and as well UFC 317 Saturday. Probably 4 Eastern there, but that's to be determined. But Thursday night is 8 Eastern. So, all right, brothers. Thank you so much, Wildcard Mar, and everybody else that tapped in on the show. Y'all make sure you tap in with Wildcard Mar, IOW Sports, and all of that great content there as well. Those are our family. And we will holler at you next time. Peace.
All right, y'all.
Peace with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist. Yo, I got that Ric Flair figure four. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat close. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe-to-toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back, in fact this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for